First thing you want to do is make sure the interior of the pot is moist, no standing water. We're going to fill the pot 2 equal lifts by volume. We'll rod each lift 25 times. Consolidate 10 to 15 times. Second lift should fill the pot. Rod it 25 times to its depth, penetrating the lift below by approximately an inch. We're going to strike off the top of the mold. We're going to clean all the excess concrete. We're going to moisten the inside of the top of the mold. When you place this, you want to make sure that when you lock it, if you're right-handed, you're not locking it this way, because as you try to roll it, you run the risk of popping it open. So you want to make sure that your clamp is turned this way. Lock it in place. We're going to insert our funnel. We're going to add a minimum of 1 pint of water. If you raise that funnel up a little bit, that'll break the seal and prevent the vacuum, and the water will actually flow in a little bit quicker. After you've added a minimum of 1 pint of water, you're going to add the selected amount of alcohol. The book says selected amount. It's not 2 pints, it's not 3 pints, it's not 2.5 pints, it's not 3.5 pints. It's selected amount, whatever that amount may be. The thing that's important about the amount of alcohol that you add is your alcohol correction factor. With 2 pints of alcohol, there is no correction factor. Once you go to 3 pints, you have a correction factor of 0.25. So we'll add our selected amount of alcohol. And we'll continue filling the mold. Where you're filling the pot, make sure you check and see if you got any leaks. If you have a leak, it'll invalidate your test and you'll need to start over. And once you see the water coming up in the neck, you can actually remove the funnel. And then you want to top this off to where the meniscus is just at the 0. Once you've achieved that, moisten your lid, insert your lid. You want to make sure that that lid is loose enough that when you put it in, you don't create any pressure. Tighten it down. Once we've got that done, we're going to pick up the mold. We're going to invert it for no more than 5 seconds. We're going to move it in a horizontal motion, and we're going to return it to its original position. We're going to do this for 45 seconds. So as you invert the pot, you want to give it a horizontal motion, help break loose that concrete out of the bottom of the bowl. We're no more than 5 seconds inverted at any given time. And we're going to do this for 45 seconds. After 45 seconds, we're going to take the meter to a 45-degree angle, and we're going to roll it quarter to half turn, forward and back, with a shearing motion. You want to be able to hear that concrete moving around in the base of the bowl. As we're rolling it, we're going to spin the pot a third turn and continue rolling. We're going to do this for up to a minute. After a minute, we're going to write the meter. We're going to release the lid. And we're going to allow 2 minutes for the air to stabilize. If the air hasn't stabilized after 2 minutes, you're going to give it an additional 2 minutes. If it's still changing by more than 1/4%, you give it up to 2 more minutes. If it takes more than 6 minutes for the air to stabilize, the test is invalid and you start over. If the air is stable, record this number as your initial reading, reinsert your cap, tighten it down, and we'll repeat the rolling procedure. After a minute, write the air meter, release the lid, allow 2 minutes for the air to stabilize. If the air changes by more than 1/4%, once it's stable, this is your new initial reading. Record that number as your new initial reading, insert the cap, tighten it down, and we'll rerun the rolling procedure one more time. After a minute, right the pot, remove the lid, allow 2 minutes for the air to stabilize. If the air does not stabilize within 6 minutes, the test is invalid. If the air changes by more than 1/4%, this being the third roll, the test is invalid. If you have more than 2% foam, the test is invalid. You'll want to start the test over at that point with more alcohol. So you'll get this number if the air is stabilized and record that as your final reading. Your air content is going to be that final meter reading minus your alcohol correction factor, plus if the air is dropped below 9% and you have to add the calibrated cups to bring it into view again, you'll add each cup back into that air. You added 2 cups in, now you're reading 8%. 8 plus 2 is 10% air. Minus your correction factor, if you use 3 pints of alcohol and your correction factor is 0.25, subtract that, so you're 9.75 on your air. Next thing we'll do is we'll open the meter. We're going to dump the contents, and we're going to look and see if we have any concrete stuck in the corners of the mold. If we do, it's an invalid test, and you begin the test again, shaking it more vigorously. If it's cleaned out, test is complete.